Good day everyone, we are the Group 3 of BSN 4Y1-3 with the discussion of PDCA cycle or the Plan Do Check Act. For our general objectives, this case presentation aims to broaden the student's knowledge regarding the PDCA cycle or the Plan Do Check Act cycle. This is designed to develop and enhance the attitude in creating and identifying appropriate actions to improve the healthcare system. Our specific objectives are to identify the four phases of PDCA cycle and to understand the importance or benefits of PDCA cycle in the healthcare system. The table of contents, 1 is the introduction of PDCA cycle, 2, case scenario, 3 is the key factors, 4th is the PDCA cycle related to the case scenario, and 5th is the references. The PDCA or the Plan Do Check Act was first presented by Walter Sherwood in 1929 and promoted by W. Edwards Deming in 1950s as a flow graph for learning. Deming supported the use of PDCA as persistent feedback loop to break down, measure, and recognize sources of variations from client requirements. This was to initiate corrective measures. First, what is PDCA cycle? PDCA or the Plan Do Check Act, it's a framework for problem solving, continuous improvement, and change. It also provides a simple and structured approach for solving quality-related problems and also easy to remember for logical sequence steps, P for plan, D for do, C for check, and A for act. These are some benefits of using Plan Do Check Act cycle. First, it encourages the methodological way of problem solving and implementing solutions, and improves the critical care thinking skills of an individual and helps to reach towards a more integrated system. We have a case scenario from the emergency department unit. A high volume in the emergency department of a private health institution, Hospital XYZ, was experiencing a variety of challenges related to key metrics as well as patient and staff satisfaction. The emergency department unit has 16 bed treatment spaces. The patient population included a wide range of acuities and thus a variety of diagnostic testing and procedures. The nurse administrators engages further to understand the root causes of their challenges and identified recommendations from improvement. The increase in emergency department services cost associated with increased use and patient influx, especially among individuals who are publicly insured and low-income population groups, is of concern due to the patient and staff dissatisfaction and potential decrease in the delivery of quality care and services. The identified key factors problems are: first, variability in staffing, scheduling, patient flow management, and staff or provider workflow. Next, no system to track patient flow metrics. Third, staff unaware of patient physical location. Fourth, 66 hours of direct patient flow observation. Fifth, patient arrival to healthcare provider times over 50 minutes. And lastly, the length of stay was over 2 hours. P for plan. The planning stage includes evaluating a present procedure or another procedure. Then, it is about making sense of how it can be enhanced. In this stage, it is essential to realize what sort of field are necessary. Further plan is built up to settle the procedure, and usually it is simpler to design little changes during this period of the planning. With this, the goal can be effortlessly monitored, and the outcome itself becomes more predictable this way. This will be managed by implementing triage to sort the patient's degree urgency to their illness or patient's acuity to provide proper order of treatment needed. Next, assign healthcare workers in different areas and have a proper cycle every month. Next, proper management of staff scheduled for harmonious workflow and satisfaction. Fourth, propose right incentives and employees of demand to inspire others to do their best. Fifth, provide numbers tab for all the patients coming inside and a logbook for logging visitors. Lastly, provide feedback form and a drop box. Next is the do stage. It permits the plans from the past advancements to be brought into action. These little changes are usually tried and the information is gathered to take a deeper look at how powerful the changes may prove to be. Also, in the do stage, the solution is tested on a small-scale basis. It involves collecting data for later analysis and ensures the solution is appropriately tested and benefits are validated before committing to full implementation. For the do stage in our case scenario, the personnel effectively work on the request of implementing triage to sort the patient's degree of urgency to their illness to provide proper order of treatment needed. Next, the personnel provided a logbook effectively to monitor the census accurately and distributed patient on the healthcare providers. Third, the personnel in charge for scheduling staff has already reviewed and submitted proper scheduling of the healthcare personnel. Fourth, the head nurse started reviewing staff performance for the employees of the month. And lastly, regular follow-ups, check-ups, and updates were instituted by the personnel in charge.
So the third phase of the PDCA cycle would be the check phase. So in this stage, this determines whether the solution is working by assessing the outcomes, documenting learning, and determining whether additional problems or opportunities are required to be addressed. So specific steps in the check stage or phase includes examining the results of an experiment or pilot and determining if the effectiveness of the process has increased. So typically, there should be two checks throughout the project. First would be checking alongside implementation to ensure the project's objectives are being met. Second, a more comprehensive review of the project carried out upon completion addresses the success and failure so that future adjustments can be made. So for the C or the check part in the PDCA cycle, it involves analyzing the collected data and comparing actual results against planned objectives. It allows evaluation how well the solution worked. So for our check phase, first is the nurse in charge monitored and tracked the flow of patients and visitors from the implemented triage and held meeting for comparison from previous data. Second, the personnel in charge observed patient satisfaction on treatment and services as well as the staff satisfaction to the change of operation. And lastly, monitored and evaluated the quality of care, services, and the performance of the healthcare staff by asking the patients on feedback. So for the last phase of the PDCA cycle, it is the ACT phase. So in this last step, this involved the team members to take the data that was gathered in the check phase and use it to adjust the product or processes. So depending on the specific of a specific situation, the changes will flow directly into the start of another PDCA rotation. So if all parties are happy with the overall results, this step can include rolling out the changes across the entire facility so everyone can start benefiting from the change. So even when a new process is rolled out to everyone, however, it will typically be a good idea to keep going through a PDCA process to find additional areas where things can be improved. So the PDCA cycle is repeated and can be redefined perhaps to better results under new guidelines. So for the last cycle of PDCA, which is the act involving acting on the feedback and lesson learned and implementing the solution fully, what we did was, first, the feedback form was used for suggestions and improvement to have a better outcome of the hospital services. Second, the personnel in charge follow up on the identified problems and took measures to ensure the effectiveness of the patient care. And lastly, any new or persistent problems were brought into the next round of the PDCA cycle for improvement. This is done by conducting timely discussion on the problems in work, processes, and made corresponding revisions. So that's it for our PDCA cycle. So for our reference, we utilize Roy D 2018 PDCA cycle and its application in healthcare industry, which was retrieved in show on your screen. So thank you for listening.
I'm your nurse for today. I'm Ulrich Varan Semdaang. Andito ako para i-endorse ka sa bagong shift. Andito si Nurse Amiel. So, Nurse Amiel, ito si Patient L. Age niya is 60 years old, gender male, status married, religion Catholic, citizenship Filipino, and the birthday niya is April 15, 1960, and meron siyang PhilHealth. So, na-admit siya noong August 2, 2020. Diagnosis niya, CHF o congestive heart failure. Activity allowed, light exercise lang. So, diet naman niya is low sodium diet, low saturated fat, limit fluid intake, and monitor INO. So, yung mga laboratory naman and nung mga diagnostic niya is ECG noong August 8, 3, 2020, chest x-ray August 3 rather, and 2020 din yun. So, CT scan of the chest, August 8, 3 din, 2020. Echo diagram naman, August 3, 2020. And meron siyang IV fluid, which is PNS 1 liter KVO. So, ang mga medication naman niya is Apresoline 50 milligram tab TID noong August 3, 2020. So, microside 25 mg tab din yun, OD, August 8 and 3, 2020 naman yun. So, Bistolic 5 mg tab din, once a day, OD rather, and yeah. So, August 3, 2020, Clopidogrel 80 mg tab ODHS. Azosorbid mononitrate naman 60 mg tab PO. And August din yun, 3, 2020 din. So, Levoxil naman niya, 175 microgram tab OD. And August 3, 2020 naman niya yung Fluticasone 100 to 25 microgram daily naman yon. So, nakuha mo ba? So, yung mga sinabi ko na yun, lagi mong tatandaan na inumin mo palagi sa tamang oras. And sasabihin naman sa'yo ni Nurse Emil kung may mababago man. Andito si Nurse Emil para siya na yung susunod na mag-a-assist sa'yo. So, nakuha mo ba yun, Nurse Emil? And nasulat na ba lahat ng mga kailangan niyang gawin o mga iinumin sa tamang oras?
Noted po, nurse. Naisulat ko naman po lahat.
So, yun. Sasabihin naman ni Doc kung merong mababago. Kumusta ka naman? Ano pakiramdam mo? Dito si Nurse Emil. Thank you.